Hello. Um, Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Now you're audible.
All right, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Very good, very good. So I'll just give a brief introduction about today's sessions and your firm. So welcome everyone. Today we are with architect Yukti Goel and her partner architect Prince Katiyar from FLYP Design Studio. They are based out of New Delhi, and the name again is very interesting, wherein they try to transform spaces, or let's take an example, they flip it around to the taste of the customer. It's a multidisciplinary architectural firm involved in various kinds of projects. And the topic of the day is finding a balance between comfort and safety through fenestration design. So, how are you today, Yukti?
I'm really good. And how are you doing?
Very good. Any introduction that you would like to give about yourself and the kind of work that you like doing?
Yeah, definitely. See, basically, my name is Architect Yukti Goel, and I'm a founder in FLYP Designs. We are into complete architectural and interior design solutions, and our forte is residential designing. So that's all. Today, I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences on the fenestration systems.
Great. So let's begin with today's session.
Yeah,
The
sure.
obvious first question, how do you kind of look at fenestration design while designing your projects?
See, according to me, fenestration systems are a really important part of facade these days. Any facade design, be it residential, commercial, whenever we start with it, we definitely look into the fenestration systems while designing it. And there are a couple of factors that we consider while selecting the fenestration system. So, first of all, the foremost thing is functionality. What I feel is the purpose of a fenestration system is to provide natural light and ventilation. So, a designer should be very clear in his or her mind that what is the purpose of fenestration system in their particular project or the area they are proposing it into. So functionality is definitely one thing that we look into. Second is aesthetics, because our entire facade design is dependent on the fenestration these days, be it modern or classical designs. So it is very important that you do the starting from the color selection to the profiles, everything are selected accordingly. And third is definitely the comfort of the client. What I feel is if you use more than the required fenestration system in a particular project, it in turn leads to heat gain. And for that, we need a lot of air conditioning to provide the comfort level to the client. So it is very important to create a balance between the usage of fenestration systems.
Great. So I'll kind of brief it for our viewers. So what Yukti actually means to say that when she is designing her projects in terms of fenestration, she's primarily looking at functionality followed by aesthetics and then the comfort of the customer. So very well said, Yukti. I would like to add on, obviously aesthetics is always the prerogative and the domain of the architect, so we don't tend to go with it. But yes, functionality, I can definitely add on a few things that when we talk of fenestration, something that we should be looking at primarily is to do with the security aspect first. Why? Because these days windows are nothing but they are basically security guards for the house. Why? Because there are no grills these days. Because the spans that we are able to give, in the present and the modern fenestration systems are too huge. The second thing that I would like to add on is obviously the choice of glass and the materials which are more durable and sustainable in the long run. I'm personally in favor of an engineered product, may it be aluminum, UPVC,
Yeah,
or whatsoever,
definitely.
as against an unengineered product. Why? Because at least the basic things are well calculated in an engineered product as against something which is done in a very haphazard and an unorganized way. So I would
Definitely.
like to add on one thing. is security, and the second thing is obviously the engineered aspect of the product that one should be looking at, along with the specifications of the glass, which can make your living as well as the air conditioning loads more effective.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next question. So when we are specifically talking about comfort and security, what is it that you would like to share with the viewers?
See, when talking about the comfort and security, like you have already mentioned, in fenestration system, one of the important aspect is the glass type. Okay, so while selecting the fenestration system for a height that is easily accessible by some intruders, so we definitely try to opt for laminated glass or security glass options. Whereas on the heights that are difficult to reach, in order to save down on the costing, we tend to go for normal toughened glass options as well. But definitely fenestration systems, in fenestration systems, security is the major thing. And for that, it is very important to understand the client brief, the client budget, and we can cater to these things if we have a good layout. Being a designer, if I have a good layout and good planning for the fenestration systems.
Okay, great. So primarily for security, what you are recommending is use of a security glass in terms of providing the overall security to the house. And in terms of comfort, probably I missed a specific point. If you could repeat, I mean, what in one or two words or in a line that can be good for the viewers to remember
See,
in terms of comfort.
when you talk about comfort, definitely it should be like I've already told you in the previous question, that air conditioning, the comfort is basically when you feel comfortable in a space when there's optimum temperature. You don't have to take external help. Like, I understand being in a environment like India, where air conditioning is a must, but definitely the type of heat gain or the heat trap that happens because of extreme glass usage. So there should be a balance in that.
Okay. So primarily what you are looking at in terms of comfort is taking care of the outside and the inside temperature.
Yeah.
So, which obviously I would like to add on that obviously the clear choice would be a thermal break product or a bad insulator or an insulator, not a bad
Yeah.
conductor, and the double glass arrangement, which will bring in a balance between outside and inside.
Definitely.
Great. So let's move on now. Obviously, the entire conversation is kind of narrowing towards comfort and safety. So, how do you maintain a balance between comfort and safety? Now, I'll give you an example. When I talk about comfort and if I want to kind of up the spec, I would definitely recommend a customer to use a low E glass or a reflective glass. Why? Because that lets the heat come in lesser than the light, probably.
Yeah,
So, how
definitely.
do you balance? And these things are very, very, I would say, critical in terms of designing a residential house. Why? Because as far as my experience is concerned, not many residential architects are interested in using a tinted glass in
Yeah,
houses. Why?
definitely.
Because it gives a commercial look. So how do you balance these two things?
See, what I feel is, first of all, your entire layout planning is very important. That you should, while layout designing only, you should be very clear that which areas are such that you want the natural light to come in, and in which areas you don't want that to happen. So I think the first step is the layout planning, definitely. And later on, in some areas, definitely because of the aesthetics, we can't go for reflective or tinted glasses because it does give a commercial look. So what I feel is, in that case, other things like blinds and curtains come into the play. So definitely we could plan such things which could cut down on the heat gain, and all the natural light can be controlled by these methods.
Okay, I'd like to add in here. I mean, obviously, you mentioned layout planning, and obviously, you said that, I mean, which can help you to balance out natural light. Now, something that is very important in Indian conditions is the use of cantilevers or chhajjas. So,
Definitely.
at the end of the day, that the chhajjas help in kind of shading the windows. It's like standing under a tree.
Yeah.
So, although the blinds and the curtains help in reduction, but at the end of the day, the heat has already traveled in.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I
so
completely agree with your
something,
point.
yeah, something that I would recommend is that using external blinds,
Mm-hmm.
in case possible, in roller blinds or louvered shutters,
Mm-hmm.
or a chaja or a cantilever, which automatically when you calculate the azimuthal angle, you would see that there is a considerable reduction in the heat that comes in into the house. And I feel now lately, I mean, our company's forte has always been residential projects. And I've seen lately a lot of HVAC people are being engaged in residential projects. Earlier, it was only the hotels. When we used to do the hotels,
Definitely.
they used to ask us a lot of details and we used to supply to them. And sometimes we used to wonder that why the residential architects never kind of come back to ask us for the same details. But now, since even the residences these days are 100% 24/7 designed to be air conditioned, so I think the need for HVAC consultants is also coming up. And at the same time, I think the HVAC consultants can help in these kind of ideas, or to make calculations, internal calculations, so as to reduce the air conditioning load and make the whole place very comfortable for the resident.
See, I completely agree with your point because the project that we are doing, VRV systems are one of the integral part of those projects.
Yeah.
And sorry, and while designing the systems, we definitely look at the heat loads and the heat gains in the house. Okay, so it is very important to understand all these factors. And as you have already stated, that chajjas and cantilevers can play an
Yeah.
important role in controlling that. So I think being an architect, the major thing is to understand the direction and the sun path. That in which
Correct.
particular areas are we seeing maximum sun come in. So that is what I wanted to highlight with the help of the layout planning point that
Layout
I
planning.
stated. That
No,
while
very
designing
good.
the house, it is very important to understand that in which direction certain spaces should be put so that you can limit the heat gain accordingly.
Correct. Very well taken. So let's move on to the next question. Now, here, obviously, this is a very difficult question. If you would ask me, I would answer it in a different way. But if I'd be asking you, you'd be answering it in a different way. How do you balance between functionality and aesthetics? So, being engineers and doing engineered products, we would always say that we are not kind of concerned too much about the aesthetics. Why? Because at the end of the day, the customer needs to be functionally comfortable in using the product. But whereas when we deal with architects, somehow they tend to kind of more drift towards aesthetics. So how do you kind of balance both the things in your projects? Or probably you are also aesthetics types.
No, it's not exactly that because at the end of the day, aesthetics definitely is an important part. Being a designer, my major job is to provide my clients with the best designs. But if that design is not practical, I don't think any client is going to come back to me again for some other project. So that's one thing that we understand. At the end of the day, a house is a space that provides security and comfort to the okay. So, in order to balance both of the things, what we do is we keep ourselves updated with the market, that there is that are coming, we can incorporate in our designing that caters to both. That is physically pleasing also and is good in terms of security and as well. So, being a designer, what I can say is being if you are well updated with red hair, so you can do a good balance both of these.
Yeah, so very well said. At the end of the day, I understand that the products will always get designed first in terms of their functionality, and when we are talking of a residence, which is a larger palette in which probably you have many things to balance out. I think yes, the architect's job is to actually give the customer what he wants, at the same time he being able to use it comfortably once he's kind of started residing in the house. So that's what I understand architecture is all about, and that's where you make a difference for yourself amongst the other lot of people doing the same job.
Yes.
So okay, let's move on to the next question, which is more to do with the design aspect now, wherein how can fenestration design help achieve comfort and safety while also fulfilling the functional and the basic purposes? So I know, I mean, it's gonna get windingly confusing. Why? Because we are trying to we are trying to kind of
I, uh,
fit aesthetics and comfort and functionality.
See, again, most of the points are questions. But when it comes to security, so definitely the locking systems, the alarm systems, nowadays technology also has an important role to play in this entire thing. So security systems are also well designed to provide optimal amount of security to the client. So, for example, if security is a major concern for the client, we ask them to get alarm systems incorporated in their houses, which can be paired up with the fenestration systems, and they beep every time somebody tries to open the fenestration system from outside. So that is one thing that you can definitely take help of the technology and incorporate it with the fenestration systems. And when it comes to comfort, for me, comfort is something that is very durable, maintainable. So, while selecting a fenestration system for a client, I make sure that the product that I'm going with is very durable, easy to maintain, and easy to use by the client as well. So, this is how I deal with the comfort and the security part.
Okay, so I have a very quick question to ask you in between. So you said that you prefer for the customers in terms of security. You said something in automation, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So which you said pertains to using the security systems. Yes, we come across a lot of security systems, but somehow I have got some complaints from architects and the customers saying that when they put the security systems, they become eyesore. Why? Because all those parts are visible in the eye of the customer. So how do you think of an idea if the security systems, in terms of, I would say, the motion sensors first, or let's say if they are inbuilt in the window system. So
I think
how
that
would that idea?
I think that'll be a great idea because you are very right that automation is altogether a separate part, and a lot of people don't want to get into the hassle of taking fenestration system from somebody and then catering to the automation somewhere else. So, if there's an integrated system which caters to the inbuilt automation system for security, so I think that would be a great idea, and we love to utilize this product in our own projects also.
Okay, great. So I'll have it in my mind, and I will try and get my design team working on it, that they are able
Yeah,
to incorporate these security systems. All right. I think we are at the end of the session. I just want a few, if you would like to share some few words about today's topic. I mean, related to balance between comfort and safety for our customers.
I think the topic that we have chosen for discussion is very important because, as you have already highlighted, there are a lot of architects and designers who only cater to the aesthetic part of a building. But being a designer, being a professional, what I feel it's my moral duty and responsibility that the client should feel a comfort and security in the house that they have built. Okay, because as I've already mentioned that the sole purpose of house is to provide comfort and security to the people living in it, and fenestration systems are an integral part of facade designing nowadays and elevations. So for me, it is very important that I balance the entire thing such that my designs also look good and they are a matter of security and comfort for my clients as well.
Great. Very well said, Yukti. It was a pleasure having you with us today. We hope to see you around soon in Delhi, or whenever you are here. We, welcome you to visit us anytime. Thank you very much for
Thank you
being with
so
us
much.
today.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.